Did you know that sometimes out of your greatest need will come your biggest blessing? There's a lady I want to talk to you about. Let me throw back and share this story with you. It says that there was a widow who put 2 small coins in the treasury. She gave out of her poverty. Into the treasury, she put everything she had to live on. I want to encourage you. It may be very difficult right now. Some of you haven't even hit your stride finding that perfect job, making the money you want to make. And it seems like what you have to give is so little. But I want to say that God recognizes those who give their best, their most, especially who give their all. And because He's worthy of it, don't ever despise the day of small beginnings. Don't ever think that your little doesn't count with the Lord. Now, there are some of you who are actually doing very well. And the challenge for you is to think about whether or not your good deeds or your riches or the increase that you have is coming from a place of genuine sacrifice out of the worthiness of our God. You see, it wasn't the rich that were recognized. It was the woman who gave her little, but it was so much because it was all she had. You know, God is worth it all. He wants it all. And my challenge to all of you is to think about that. As we ponder all of these things on the road to resurrection, it cost God His only begotten Son. He gave His all and His best for our salvation. He absolutely deserves our all and our best for His glory. So I hope you can get the picture. There's a little lady that probably was overlooked by the masses, especially not regarded as anybody important by the rich people who were putting in their loads of money. And yet the one person who was the most important person in the room took notice of her. Jesus saw that this lady put in the little bit, all she had, and commended her. Like, we're talking about her story now. We don't know her name, but we know she's the woman with 2 mites. And let me tell you something. As I started processing my own issues, I could relate. Not because I've been as destitute or because I'm a widow. I've been in some places where I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay in my home or where I would get my next meal. But let me tell you what was important to me. What was important was that I realized God sees me. I'm not abandoned. I'm not alone. And here is the best part. The little bit that I had, or even have now, God is still worthy of all of it. A lot of times we think about our gifts, our talents, or maybe our skill set is something grand or something really small. I've been there. I don't have this. I can't do that. But what I do have, is God worthy of it? Yes, worthy of all. And that's why I want to encourage you. You may not be able to do a whole list of whatever it is that's popular, but God has given you something that you can turn back and give as an offering to the Lord. And plenty of people do things out of their abundance of talent or their abundance of time or their abundance of creativity or their abundance of wealth. But what about those of us who say, I don't have much, but what I have to give, I give my all? Here's the challenge this Holy Week. Think about the ways that you might feel insecure or inadequate and rejoice. Rejoice, first of all, that God sees you. You are not ignored or overlooked. Be grateful that God knows what it's costing you to be faithful in ministry, to your family, to your commitment to God. And just know this, in ways that you will never be able to recount or tell anybody else, God will definitely see to it that your needs are provided and that God gets the glory and others will be blessed by your testimony. I share this today because I know what it's like to feel like I don't have enough. And yet, God always reminds me that I am not judged or valued based on what I have or what I can do. Simply because of who I am loved. And when I surrender and yield my everything to the Lord, there's always something greater in that story for God's glory. Hey, don't forget, I want you to subscribe, like, and share this. Encourage somebody else. You know someone who needs to be reminded that God sees them right where they are